Soldier dragged an old black woman out of the military base. -5 minutes later, then this happened. Asterisk, asterisk, a flag, a legacy. The story of Ora May Hollins asterisk, asterisk, at Fort East, Virginia. Soldiers lined the path near the Army headquarters, backs straight and expressions tight. Few understood the reason for this unusual gathering. Whispers drifted, but most simply waited. Then she appeared, a slow, determined stride, brown boots worn from decades of use, and a coat whose style belonged to another era, buttoned up against her chest. In her arms, she clutched a folded American flag as if it was something priceless. Her name was Ora May Hollins, 86 years old, her skin marked by time and her eyes unyielding. Ora was not here for pleasantries. She had come to say farewell. Her grandson, Captain Julius J. Collins, had fallen overseas in Syria. He piloted a helicopter and, according to the official report, saved 13 fellow soldiers before his Black Hawk was lost to fire. None of those rescued soldiers had attended his memorial. Now Ora had returned to the base, the very one where her grandson trained, where she herself once served to honor Julius, to give him the tribute this place denied him. The confrontation. She had barely taken 5 steps onto the grounds when a harsh voice rang out. "Stop right there," barked a young white soldier, his words rough and commanding. His name tag read Lieutenant Connor Ree. He strode over, posture rigid, and pointed at her as if she were trespassing. "You are not allowed here, ma'am. This is a restricted area. Civilians do not just walk onto a base carrying stolen flags." Ora did not flinch. She stood tall, the flag pressed close to her chest. "I earned this flag," she stated quietly. Lieutenant Ree scoffed. "You cannot just come in and pretend to be someone important. You are trespassing, regardless of your age." Ora cast her gaze past him, noting the bold U.S. Army letters on the building. Her voice remained steady. "I helped build this base. I trained men like you, long before you were born." His face flushed, pride stung. "You trained here. Leave, now, or I will call for backup." For the first time in his career, he jabbed his finger toward a veteran's face, and shouted again. "I said, leave." The wind carried his anger across the yard. Some soldiers looked away, others watched, uncertain. Ora only gripped the flag more tightly, took a deliberate step forward, and said, "You do not know who I am, but you will soon." Ree snapped, his fingers signaling to guards. "You are coming with us," he commanded. "Try me," Ora replied, unshaken. A stunning turn. Suddenly, a door at the far end of the base burst open. 3 high-ranking officers appeared. One wore 4 stars on his shoulder. The others moved like men burdened by years of service. The senior general paused, eyes locking on Ora. He turned to his companion. "Is that Sergeant Major Hollins?" The younger general hesitated. "It cannot be. She retired decades ago." The older general nodded. "Bring her to me." But Ora was already advancing, boots striking the concrete with purpose. Lieutenant Ree blocked her path. "You are not going anywhere," he insisted. Then, the unexpected happened. The older general's voice cut through the tension. "Lieutenant Ree, stand down." Instantly, every head turned. The general strode forward, stepped between Ree and Ora, and snapped a salute, so crisp it echoed. "Sergeant Major Hollins," he declared, voice carrying, "welcome home." The entire yard went silent. Lieutenant Ree's jaw fell slack. Ora did not return the salute, but whispered, "About time someone remembered." The general's hand dropped. "We'd never forgotten that, those of us who served under you." Behind him, murmurs spread. Soldiers whispered, "That is the one who trained Alpha 6. She led Desert Resolve. That is Captain Hollins's grandmother." Ree's confusion deepened. "You trained here?" Ora's tone hardened. "I trained half the men behind you, including the soldier you yelled at last week. You did not even know the man who saved your life, did you?" She stepped closer. "My grandson, Captain Julius Hollins, died dragging your men from fire. Yet you could not attend his funeral, only shout at his family." Ree stammered. I did not know." Ora replied, "That is exactly the problem. You do not know your people or your history." A salute to service. The general addressed the crowd. "Let it be known that this woman, Sergeant Major Ora Hollins, was the first black woman to lead a mixed combat unit at Fort East. She served 29 years, saved countless lives, and her family still serves this country." Soldiers straightened. Several saluted. Ree bowed his head, but the general was not finished. Lieutenant Ree, my office. Now. In that moment, Connor Ree's career fractured. Aura's eyes glistened as she moved toward the memorial wall, cane tapping a solemn rhythm. The soldiers followed, a silent procession. She placed the flag at the foot of the granite, whispering, "Rest now, Duke. Mama made it." The legacy unfolds. Fort East had not felt this still in decades. The flag lay on the stone, the red, white, and blue absorbing the silence. Soldiers stood at the edges, motionless. Aura stood with her hand on Julius's name, etched deep in. The stone captain, Julius A. Hollins, below the name, flew into fire to save men who never knew him. She closed her eyes. He was more than a pilot, she breathed. He was my only child left. Behind her, General George B. Mallory removed his hat, eyes fixed on Aura like a cadet awaiting instruction. He had once trained under her in the Gulf. Aura turned to him. "What happens now?" Mallory inhaled deeply. "That is up to you," he said. She faced the wall again. "My boy died for men who never saw him, who never saw people like us." The general nodded. "That is why. This must change." Aura lifted her head. "Then let us change it." A new chapter at Fort East. Within 48 hours, the hall of Silan's dim corridor lined with portraits of white war heroes was filled with anticipation. Officers, cadets, aging veterans in wheelchairs, young black soldiers eager to see her face, all gathered for a ceremony. A heavy black curtain hung across one wall. General Mallory addressed the crowd. "This country has stories it buries, people it forgets, but not today." He glanced at Aura. "This base owes a debt to a woman who carried it long before she was thanked. Unveil it." The curtain fell, and gasps swept the room. A grand portrait, painted in full uniform, revealed Sergeant Major Aura May Hollins, clenched, standing behind a diverse unit of soldiers, in gold below. The iron backbone of Fort East ESA, 1964. Tears ran down faces that had not wept in years. Aura did not cry. She said quietly, "I did not do this for awards." General Mallory replied, "You did it so those who followed would not have to fight on two fronts." A young black woman, Private Danielle Creed, stepped forward, voice trembling. "Ma'am, I am Private Creed. Last week, I almost quit. He thought I did not belong. Then I heard your story." She held out her dog tags. "If it is all right, I want you to have these. You walked so I could run." Aura held the tags, then gently pushed them back. "No, baby, you keep them. Make the next girl proud." The crowd erupted in applause, the walls seeming to breathe for the first time in years, reckoning and remembrance. Elsewhere, Lieutenant Connor Ree sat in a hearing before a review board. A black colonel addressed him. "You disrespected a veteran. Screamed at a gold star grandmother, a decorated hero. What do you have to say?" Ree stared at the floor. "I thought she was just an old woman." The colonel leaned in. "That is the problem. You did not see her just like you did not see the pilot who saved your life." Silence. Ree asked, "Am I being discharged?" The colonel set down his file. "No, you are being reassigned to a civilian outreach unit in South Chicago. You will spend 12 months telling Sergeant Major Aura May Hollins's story to every school and community center, willing to listen." Ree opened his mouth to protest, but said nothing. That evening, after the ceremony, Aura stood alone at the wall. She watched young soldiers of every background stream from the base, strong, brave, and finally seen. She whispered to Julius one last time, "They see us now, Duke." With a steady step, she left Fort East behind, for the first time in years feeling unburdened. Aura's name is now taught in every Fort East orientation class. Her portrait hangs in 3 federal military museums. Each Memorial Day, a wreath is placed beneath her grandson's name by soldiers who never met her, but carry her story onward. If this story touched you, do not just watch, subscribe and help us share stories that matter. Let us make sure history never forgets those who fought to be seen. A flag, a legacy. The story of Aura May Hollins at Fort East, Virginia. Soldiers lined the path near the Army headquarters, backs straight and expressions tight. Few understood the reason for this unusual gathering. Whispers drifted, but most simply waited. Then she appeared, a slow, determined stride, brown boots worn from decades of use, and a coat whose style belonged to another era, buttoned up against her chest. In her arms, she clutched a folded American flag as if it was something priceless. Her name was Aura May Hollins, 86 years old. her skin marked by time and her eyes unyielding. Aura was not here for pleasantries. She had come to say farewell. Her grandson, Captain Julius J. Collins, had fallen overseas in Syria. He piloted a helicopter and, according to the official report, saved 13 fellow soldiers before his Black Hawk was lost to fire. None of those rescued soldiers had attended his memorial. Now Aura had returned to the base the very